Well, hey everybody, and thanks for visiting my movie vlog. I'm John Campea, and file this one under sure, why the hell not? The good folks over at the very reputable movie news website Screen Rant have just put out a report concerning Wonder Woman 2, giving away two pretty important details. Now, I'm going to warn you right now that within this news is a bit of a spoiler for the Wonder Woman film, so if you're one of the 6 people out there who hasn't seen Wonder Woman yet, you might want to skip over this. According to the report in Screen Rant, Wonder Woman 2 will, number 1, take place in the 1980s during the final days of the Cold War with the Soviet Union. So instead of Wonder Woman kind of standing up to the forces of the German army, she's going to be standing up against communism, I guess. The second detail in the report is a little bit of a bomb because it concerns Chris Pine will return for Wonder Woman 2. That's right, the dude who blew himself up in a plane, the mortal dude who blew himself up in a plane at the end of the first Wonder Woman film, is apparently being scripted in to come back for Wonder Woman 2. Now, before you just wave this off as being ridiculous, really think about this for a second. What are a couple of the things that really made Wonder Woman work? Well, one of the first things was that Patty Jenkins and Warner Brothers isolated Wonder Woman in its own time period, so it wasn't caught up or being convoluted by all the other events going on in the DCEU. It didn't have the shadow of either Suicide Squad or Batman vs. Superman or Man of Steel even cast over it. It got to be its own story without anything else getting in its way. The idea of going back to the 80s kind of gives them that same advantage. It's a formula that worked for the first film, and it's actually not a bad idea to go back to that formula again. We get to see Wonder Woman truly be in a Wonder Woman film. And some movies these days, even like the great Spider-Man Homecoming, it's a Spider-Man movie, but it's also kind of an Avengers movie, and it's also kind of an Iron Man movie, and it's also kind of this, that, and the other thing. Wonder Woman being isolated in a certain period of time allows the movie to just be a Wonder Woman movie. Worked for the first one, it's actually not a bad idea to do it again for the second one. Now that brings us on to the second thing. How the hell do you bring back Chris Pine? Okay, let's forget the absurdity of the notion for just a second. We all know that in comic book movies, nobody ever really dies. And really one of the big things that carried this movie in the first place was Chris Pine and that chemistry that he was able to generate with Gal Gadot. It was their interaction that actually gave a lot of meat to the film. Therefore, having Chris Pine in Wonder Woman 2 from a filmmaker's point of view is kind of absolutely essential. Having Wonder Woman in her own period of time worked. Having Chris Pine in there worked. If you want to kind of guarantee that the second one's going to work, go back to the things that made the first one work. Now, the report also goes on to mention that although director Patty Jenkins has not yet signed on to direct Wonder Woman 2, and maybe she won't, who knows, she is developing the story for Wonder Woman 2 with Jeff Johns right now. So this story about the 80s and all the kind of stuff, it is coming from her as well. So while on its surface, when you first read this report, it seems a little ridiculous. She's fighting the comrades and Chris Pine coming back. I think if we really stop to think about it, this is probably a pretty smart move. And as a film fan, I gotta say, I think it's the right decision. If this report turns out to be true, I think this is Warner Brothers making a pretty shrewd decision on their part moving forward with this particular character. And let's face it, this is the character that's working the best in their DCEU right now. You don't want to do anything to mess it up. But there are different ways of looking at this, so I want to know what you think. If this report from Screen Rant is true, and it is going to be set in the 80s, and Chris Pine is coming back, what do you think about that? Do you, like me, think this is a pretty shrewd decision on Warner Brothers' part? Or do you think it's a little bit too ridiculous? Or is it somewhere in between? Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. I want to hear what you have to say about this. While you're here, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you're following me on social media on Facebook and on Twitter, simply @John Campea. That'll do it for me, guys, and until tomorrow, bye-bye.